Lesson 1, Cursive Lowercase a, D, G, C. Let's go ahead and pretend that I have a paper like yours in front of me. I'm going to be writing on a white dry erase board with a marker so that you're able to see the letters clearly. Your paper in front of you should have a big space at the top. Then you have your top line, which is solid blue, your midline, dotted blue, your baseline, solid red, and your descending space for letters that hang down below. When you pick up your pencil, be sure to hold only the color, not the wood. Otherwise, you have to peek down and see what you're writing. If your paper is straight in front of you, then whatever hand you write with, that corner needs to be slightly slanted upward. This way, you'll be in a proper slant as you're writing. Make sure when you're writing, you're just pretending that the paper is straight and you just write straight up and down. That puts you at a proper slant. Your extra hand, of course, is going to be open to create your cave. You have your fingers at the top, your thumb at the bottom to hold it down. Wherever you are writing, if you're writing up here, writing down here, or sliding it over and writing down here. So you need to have your paper moved around so it's right in front of you as you write, just as we explained before in the introduction. Let's begin with lowercase a. Now in cursive, we are going to, all the manuscript letters, we went from around the top line down, or around the midline down. For cursive letters, we're going to be primarily going, especially for lowercase letters, we go from the baseline up. You'll begin this next set of letters, A, D, G, C, with a little hill. Now let's just pretend it's like a little ant hill. So you need to begin at the baseline, right here. You're going to slowly slide up to the midline and kind of loop over like that. So that is your slope. Let's do again. Baseline, up to the midline, and then you just kind of hump over a little bit. So this is a gentle slope. That's why we're going to call it a little hill. Let's begin with your lowercase a. Baseline, little hill up, over and around, touch your midline. You'll reverse, go back around, tuck inside that line, touch the baseline. As soon as you see where you began, you go straight up that line. You're going to come straight back down. Once you hit the baseline, you'll have a little kick. This is called your beginning connector, and this one's called your end connector. Very important as you're writing, because you never know if you're going to have a letter in front of it or a letter behind it. This is very important in my instruction for teaching cursive writing. Begin at the baseline. Again, we're going to slope up and have a little hill to the midline. Over and around. Once you hit the baseline and once you see where you began, you go straight up, straight back down with a little kick. Notice that the round part is in the front and the back end is a straight line. Again, baseline, little hill up, over and around, straight up, straight back down with a kick. Again. Little hill up, back over and around, straight up, straight back down with a kick. Your turn. Okay, I'm going to guess that you have probably practiced on one line, possibly even two, but I'm going to show you how to skip from the top line down to the baseline. In practicing your lowercase a, I'm sure you have practiced on one line, possibly even two. I'm going to skip down from the top line down to the second line. Let me show you how. I find this dotted line, I go all the way down to the next dotted line. That's going to be my top line, midline, baseline, descending space that I'll be writing on. Let's begin on the baseline. This will be lowercase d, baseline, little hill up, reverse, go back around. I'm going to go straight up and come straight back down with a little kick. Next one, baseline, little hill up, over and around, straight up, and oops, and straight back down to the baseline. If you'll notice, it is going pretty much straight up from me. If I were to make my paper straight, look at it, it's at a slant. That's what I was explaining before. So you need to write your letters straight upward. Again, for the lowercase d, baseline, little hill up, reverse, over and around, straight up, straight back down with a kick. Little hill up, reverse, over and around, straight up, straight back down with a kick. Your turn. Our next letter will be lowercase cursive g. I'm going to go from one dotted line to the next, begin on the baseline, little hill, oops, there we go, little hill up, reverse, over and around, straight up. It looks very much like an A or a D at this point. If I were to go straight up, it'd be a D. If I stop there, it'd be an A. I'm going to come straight back down to the descending space, make a forward loop, and cross at the baseline. Again, baseline, little hill up, reverse, over and around, straight up, straight back down to the descending space, forward loop, cross at the baseline. Make sure you don't put a little extra curlicue in there. It just needs to be a forward loop. Again, baseline, little hill up, over and around, close, straight back down, forward loop, and cross at the baseline. Baseline, little hill up, over and around, straight up, straight back down, front loop, cross at the baseline. So when I make my loop, I am actually going to the left side of my paper. If I make an L with my fingers like this, that is a capital L. So this is the left side. So your loop needs to go in the front. That means to your left. Over here, I'm going to write a capital R, very small, in the corner. So that's my right side. This is my left side. Please make your loops to the left. Your turn. The last letter that we will practice will be lowercase cursive c, skipping down to the next line, beginning at the baseline. Little hill up, touch the midline, come over and around. I want to dip down off of the midline a little bit. Then I'm going to reverse, come back around, tuck inside there. Have my C coming straight out. This way we have an end connector, we have a beginning connector. So it kind of comes out. The regular C would just come up, over and around, and almost close. But this time we want to go out in case we have a letter after it. Coming over, baseline, little hill up, over and around, down, off the midline, reverse, over and around, touch the baseline, and come out. Baseline, up to the midline, little hill, over and around, reverse, come back around, and come out. Make sure when you come back around that you are staying within your little hill. Baseline, little hill up, off the midline, over and around, stay inside there, and come out. Your turn. Now that we have worked with these letters so far, we're going to go ahead and practice some words. This first word will be add, add, 2 Ds. Begin at the baseline. I'm going to make my a, which is A, over and around, straight up, straight back down, come down. Now I'm going to pretend like I'm beginning my D, but actually this is a connector, so I'm going to go immediately up and start making my D. Little hill up, over and around, straight up, straight back down with a kick. Now my kick will end up being the connector for my next D. So I go straight up again, over and around, touching the baseline, straight up, straight back down. Now I have my kick. Make sure your D is going in the same direction. The tall lines that reach up to the top line are going in the same directions. That makes your letter look nice. Ghost O, skip over, little hill. This is my A, going into my D, straight up, straight back down. Here's my D, over and around, straight up, oops, straight back down. Kind of hard with my marker. And then a little kick. Your turn. My next word will be gag. That's G, A, G. Ghost O, holding it down, baseline. I'm going in for my G, G, over, around, close, straight down below, cross at the baseline. Now I'm going to go directly into my A, my A, straight up, straight back down. I'm going to go directly into my G, straight up, straight back down, left loop, and then a little kick right there. All right, into connector. One more time. Baseline, little hill, over, close, down, left loop, into my A, over, around, straight up, straight back down, into my next G, over and around, little hill, straight up, straight back down, left loop, into connector. Your turn. My next word will be dad. So I think I might have enough room over here, so I'm going to go ahead and try. Baseline, little hill up, I'm doing my D, over and around, straight up, straight back down, going into my A, over and around, straight up, close, straight back down. Now let's go into my next D, over, around, straight up, straight back down with a kick, dad. I know I don't have enough room there, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust my paper and go down to the next dotted line where I find dotted line, have my top line, baseline, descending space right around it. So here's my next dotted line. Let's go with the D, baseline. Baseline, up to the midline, over and around, straight up, straight back down. Go into my A, touching my guidelines, close, come straight down. D, over and around. I'm going to go straight up, straight back down, end connector. I'm done. Okay, so as I look at my paper, if I look at it straight, I see that this D was kind of off a little bit. I probably should have slid it in front of me. This one is better. Let me go ahead and do that. Just as I explained, I need to slide it in front of you, then I'll be at a proper slant. Baseline, little hill, straight up, straight back down. A, D. Now let's take a look. Ooh, I am at a proper slant. If I straighten my paper, then all my letters are going in a better slant, okay? And that is because you had it slightly slanted up in the corner. If you're left, you do it that way. If you're right-handed, you do it that way. Very good lesson. I look forward to all of our future lessons together. We should be understanding all of the cursive letters within about 11 lessons. And that will be 11 weeks that we'll be working on this. I look forward to seeing you each and every week. I'm so very proud of you being excited about writing in cursive. This is actually beautiful writing. You will also be able to not only write it, but then you'll be able to read cursive writing whenever you see it and have your own signature when you grow up. Okay, so awesome. Keep it up, and I look forward to seeing you next Thursday.